Hi, Dave Taylor here. We get a lot of tablets. Today I thought I'd actually do a bit of a roundup and look at a couple of Windows 8 tablets and compare them to the Apple iPad. So first off, we have the Acer Iconia W5. This is an interesting tablet because it's actually a sort of hybrid tablet and laptop. So we'll look at that again in a moment. Let me just put it over here. And then the second candidate we have here is the Microsoft Surface RT, and if you haven't seen these, it's very nice, and what's particularly cool about it is that the cover is a keyboard. So that's really cool. And then our reference device is the Apple iPad. This is an iPad 3 with a Retina display, and as you've no doubt seen before, it's a very attractive display. It's incredibly thin. But here's the downside. 1 gig of RAM, 64 gig of storage, $699, no anything. The cover, that's extra. We'll get that out of the screen. And ports wise, it just has that standard 32-pin Apple port. It has no ability to expand memory. There's no SD card, micro SD card. There's no USB port. Every single thing involves buying more stuff to do anything with it, from having it output to an HDMI to hooking up, even reading photos off of your SD card on your camera. So the iPad really is sort of the reference tablet, and I like mine. It's a pretty cool device, but it runs its own operating system, iOS, and it's really kind of expensive for what it is nowadays. So let's put this aside and let's look at these two. So this is the Acer Iconia W5, as I said, and here's what's cool about it is that slide the little switch and now you've just got a Windows 8 tablet. And I like these because what's cool about it is that it has lots and lots of expansion capabilities on it. So if you look on the side, it has a micro SD slot, it has this compact HDMI. When you add the keyboard, it gives you a USB port, and of course it also gives you that whole keyboard assembly. So if you want to just dock it, now you're ready to roll. You've got more battery life, and you have a very convenient keyboard, and it's very handy. One other cool thing about it is the way they've designed it is that you can actually bend it, do it without breaking it, like that. So now you have a very nice keyboard that actually ends up being a holder or a prop. So very handy, and I like it. This has 2 gigabytes of RAM. This configuration has 46 gig of available disk space, which means it's a 64 gig device. Runs full Windows 8, which is actually very handy. There's a lot of apps you can get for it. Includes USB, micro USB, and compact HDMI, and this baby runs $799, so it's the most expensive of the three, but it obviously includes the whole thing, and really it's sort of this hybrid laptop tablet. The other interesting one that I actually like the best of the Windows 8 tablets we've seen is the Microsoft Surface. Now, one of the things you notice is as I just pulled it over, I flipped up the back. So now, without anything else, it's configured like this. I have my keyboard, you can see that. It has a very attractive display, and this runs as configured, 64 gigabytes of storage, 2 gigabytes of RAM, full Windows 8, USB, micro SD port, compact HDMI, again, just like the Acer. And interestingly, when you try to take screenshots, you find out that the Acer actually, they've done some little tiny tweaks somehow on their system, and it doesn't quite work normally. But the Microsoft Surface, this one's really nice, and there's a lot of good buzz. This is the RT, so it's the slower of the two, but as configured, including this very cool cover, is $699. And if you actually look at the cover, let me just see if I can show you straight on. It's incredibly thin. It's really basically as thin as the cover on my iPad. It just happens to have a nifty little keyboard built into it. Now, that comes at a price, and the price is that the connector between the keyboard and the tablet itself is actually a little bit more complicated. You can see perhaps that there are some little pins here that you have to actually have connect, but that's hardly much of a price to pay. And $699 for the smart cover and the Surface, it's actually a pretty good deal. And I know a lot of people, particularly that have upgraded to the Surface Pro, that really are very happy with it. And if you're in the Windows world and you don't really want to go onto the Macintosh side, then there's a lot to be said for this. It does a terrific job. Both of them actually do a great job with movies, with any media to go, and of course there's high connectivity. There's lots of things they can do. And in fact, the Surface actually includes USB 4.0. I'm sorry. It includes USB 3 and Bluetooth 4.0. So it's really state of the art. So if you're looking for a tablet, I have to say, all in all, I still use my iPad a lot, but I'm also mostly an Apple person. So I'm already in that universe, if you will. I've already drunk that Kool-Aid. If you are on the Windows side, then I really have to say, I really am impressed with the Surface RT and with the Surface overall. It has a very nice feel to it. Microsoft's done a really good job. Now their challenge is actually to sell enough to actually make a meaningful channel. And on the Acer side, this is really interesting, and I've had this for about a month now, and I have to say, I don't use it very often. It's very interesting, the idea of a laptop that you can just pop the top off and use as a tablet. But in actual real use, I'm not sure how often I would actually find that beneficial versus something that was perhaps a little less expensive or had different capabilities. Again, one of the other things I really like about the Surface is the built-in stand, which seems like a really dumb thing. It really seems mundane, but it's actually very helpful because a lot of time, even without the keyboard, there's a lot of time you want to just prop it up on an airplane or at a cafe where you're just reading, swiping through some news stories or something. Really helpful. So, to summarize, the iPad is a great device, very successful, very popular, kind of expensive for what it is, and you really have to drink the Apple Kool-Aid to get the most out of it. The Microsoft Surface is a very good, really powerful competitor. I think it's probably the best non-Apple tablet on the market right now. And then the Acer has a really interesting solution if you're looking for something that's a convertible, where it's both a tablet and a laptop. So between the three of them, I'm sure you can find something that will help you be more mobile. This is Dave Taylor saying I'll see you in my next video.